McNair program was started initially after the unfortunate death of Ronald E. McNair, who was the astronaut that had graduated from MIT with his doctorate. He was up into outer space when the Challenger had exploded. So what the Part of Education did at that time and Congress did was they put some money into a program to try to get individuals like similar to Ronald E. McNair into the doctoral programs. So the basic part of the McNair program is to get doctoral programs for disadvantaged individuals and to change the complexion somewhat of the academic faculty.
I'm Steve Ackerman. I'm from the biology department, and I work in a molecular biochemistry lab studying gene regulation in plants and in animals. And the student working in my lab was the McNair student, also an honors college student, Greta Gobus, and she's been studying a project to learn how plants have a defense mechanism.
My name is Greta Gobus. I am a biology major. I will be graduating this May, and my parents are from Lithuania, and I immigrated here 8 years ago, and I am a first-generation college student.
She was very good. She worked very independently. She made decisions on her own when I wasn't around, which were very good and correct. And it's usually hard to train a student to make good decisions. Students are very good at making bad decisions. And fortunately for me, Greta was the opposite. She was very bad at making bad decisions. She only made good ones.
My name is Melissa Cruz. I am a biology major. I'm actually very interested in computer science, though.
My name is Wei Ding, so I'm an associate professor of computer science. And Melissa Cruz, she's taking applied machine learning class with me in this semester. And in the same time, she's actually doing research with me on the cancer research. We're currently collaborating with Dana-Farber Cancer Institute.
Currently, we have cancer data that has about over 6,000 patients, and they took their tumor samples and they gathered gene mutation data. So we have over 19,000 genes screened for mutations, and what we're looking at is with this data that encompasses multiple different kinds of cancers such as breast cancer, liver cancer, ovarian cancer. We want to see if there's any subtypes or groupings, strong patterns basically within and across cancer, to be able to present this to them and be like, here we go, here are these subtypes, here are these groupings. Is there any biological significance in this that could lead to better drugs to increase survival rate for patients?
We get the students to work together to form groups and to study problems and to figure out what the next thing on their agenda might be for the success of not only them, but the university and society as a whole.
Hi, I'm Bersabel Wendamaganyo, and I'm a biochemistry major.
Bersabel, she's really a very interesting individual. She came into my class initially as a freshman student in the freshman seminar class, and I saw her interests and her abilities pretty soon as she kind of was one of the class coordinators, and she was one of the most talented students in the class itself.
My project is on characterization and activity of polyphenol and oxidase enzyme that is found in barley.
My name is Brandon Fan, and I am a biology major with a mathematics minor and doing a biotechnology track. So my research is in computational biology to understand transcription regulation and try to implement different information into an affinity genome browser.
My name is Todd Riley, and I'm an assistant professor here at Umass Boston. Brandon has been working in the lab now for about a year and a half, starting from last summer. And he's been helping out a lot with integrating a lot of information concerning proteins that bind to DNA and regulate downstream genes, and also integrating in polymorphism data that makes certain people in the population perceptible to certain genetic diseases. including different types of cancer.
I met with Dr. Hager, and he kind of like helped me along the way, even as a freshman, and just helped me become accepted into McNair, finding research, and just overall giving me more opportunities to do what I want to do.
My name is Chanel Fields, and I am an exercise health science major with a minor in anthropology.
And I am Elizabeth Sweet, and I am an assistant professor in the Department of Anthropology here at UMass Boston. And I do research on health disparities and social determinants of health.
Personally, I dealt with health disparities that I wasn't aware of growing up. And I now being a part of this study, focusing on financial debt affecting health, I can relate to it because I'm a college student with debt to pay, and I can better understand my family, my parents' experiences with debt as I was growing up.
She has such an interest in these issues, but also a passion for these issues because of her background, because of her firsthand experience with these issues of how a disadvantaged neighborhood can impact health and stress. She has a connection to these issues, and she has a connection to these communities and these diverse communities where we're conducting the research. So she's a wonderful asset to the project because she can bring that experience to the work.
My name is Jennifer Yu. I'm a biology major with a minor in anthropology and an environmental science certificate. I am currently working with microbes, and we are studying the rhizosphere of invasive and native species of Phragmites. I've been at UMass Boston for 4 years. My plan after this is just to figure out what I want to do for the rest of my life, what I'm interested in.
My name is Amy Marino. I am a biology major, and I have had the great opportunity of working with Professor Sugumaran in his research.
Amy has been working on a project in which she is able to distinguish between these two enzymes using a natural substrate very, very efficiently. And I'm very, very happy that Amy came and joined as part of my research group and contributed significantly. And as usual, always I'm very, very happy to support the McNair program and very proud of taking Amy and training her in my laboratory.
I am a first-generation college student. My parents were originally from El Salvador, and I grew up in Rosendale, Massachusetts. Thanks to McNair, which was introduced to me by Professor Sugumaran, I was given an opportunity into the research field and given an entry-level research position where I was trained properly and given proper techniques and tools that I would be able to use in the future.
My name's Kellyanne Alexander. I'm a biology major, psych minor.
My name's Susan Zupp. I'm in the psychology department at UMass and also in the developmental and brain sciences program. So I study neuroscience, and specifically with Kelly, my project is to look at sex differences in the developing brain. What I mean is, how do you go from conception and one cell at conception to a male brain versus a female brain? What does it mean to have a male brain versus a female brain, and how do we get there? What are those building blocks? And so Kelly's been working on a project in the lab looking at the interaction between hormones like testosterone and neurotransmitter like serotonin, and how they can interact and sort of shape and guide the development of the brain into either male or female-like states.
The McNair program changed my view about science. I never really thought about myself as a scientist until I was immersed in the lab, and I wouldn't have had that opportunity without the McNair program.
I first met Kelly about a year ago when she stopped by my office to talk about the research in my lab. And because of the McNair program, we really had a chance to have a lot of one-on-one contact. We met weekly. We talked a lot about all the literature, what happens in the lab, as well as what happens outside of the lab. What do you learn outside of the lab while delving into the literature and finding out all the scientific reasons why we're doing the project we're doing in the lab? And that's one of the great strengths that Kelly has, is she came to me sort of not knowing a lot about research and how it happens, and learned very, very quickly. And actually she really shocked me in a great way, that she came in just a few weeks and sort of had graduate level questions and graduate level insights into the science, and she came up with her own project all by herself and really ran it by me and said, this is what I want to do, and it's a wonderful project. I think the McNair program is a wonderful opportunity for folks who don't normally get exposure to the lab and what happens in the lab. I think science for a lot of people, especially someone who doesn't have that exposure, is sort of this big black box, and sort of science just happens, and it's unclear how that really works. And the McNair program really gives people an opportunity to have that exposure, to be in the lab, to be doing the science that people do in graduate school and beyond, and really answering cutting-edge questions in a way that they couldn't do without the McNair program.
Being in the McNair program has provided me with the opportunity to conduct research, and also we have opportunities to network with faculties here at Umass Boston, and with the students, and also with faculties and students from other universities. The program also waives our tuition, which is a great thing when you're a college student.
McNair has been special for many years. Both Professor Sukumaran and I and Professor Hager and a few others were there at the inception of the program. We helped to develop it. And the goals that we had wanted initially have been realized in more ways than one. It's giving students a chance to learn science. These are students who may not have had that opportunity otherwise, because the program pays them a stipend, and otherwise the students might have to work outside and not be able to afford time to work in a lab and learn how to do real research.
McNair has provided me with an amazing opportunity that I wouldn't have gotten elsewhere. It introduced me into a field that needs a lot of attention and proper skill, and I wouldn't have been able to get that elsewhere.
They supported me along the way, and providing me with equipment for the lab, such as the laptop I am currently borrowing.
I also met a lot of great people. I made friends, which I would have never probably met if it wasn't for McNair.
And we've had over 45 students that have gotten doctorates or PhD degrees or MD degrees, which is a pretty good ratio of success.